Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to Vicky 3. This is episode 18. Last time we laid out a plan to expand to the south in the Arabian Peninsula, and let's start by declaring an interest there. This will quickly also tell us kind of who else has an interest in this area. Right now, relations are too high, so we can't do anything day one. But after we take care of relations with Oman, you can see that the nations that would be interested, the defensive pact, we have two nations there, but none of those three are actually going to pose a threat. Makran actually would be on our side with their whole 3 units, but the other countries that may join one side or the other, Great Britain, Ottoman Empire, are the only ones that actually pose any sort of threat, and Egypt. So Great Britain, Ottoman Empire, and Egypt are the three that we need to verify that relations are in a strong state to try to keep them out. So starting with damaging relations, we're also going to go ahead and expel the diplomats for Oman so that we can work on bringing those relations down. So Egypt is neutral. So Egypt is that first one that we would want to improve relations with. Things are already maxed out with the Ottomans, and they are maxed out with Great Britain as well, though they are cautious. The attitude is cautious. So it looks like the Ottomans would definitely not intervene, as they very much like us. And Egypt are at least cooperative. So once we take care of the relations, I think we should be good there. The only one to worry about, taxation capacity, is something we definitely need to address short term. So identification documents, well, not the best tech option that's out there. We use that to get that taxation capacity here in Western Afghanistan taken care of. As we have a pretty small, or a big hit anyway, in tax collection in Western Afghanistan. I'm wondering if we have that elsewhere as well. We do. Tabriz also has that same problem, so addressing that will be important. I think government administration adding a fourth one there will certainly help with that as well. In the continuation of trying to alter the government in the way we want, autocracy has extra authority. And you definitely get extra legitimacy from your head of state being in the government, but landed voting improves the political strength of a number of groups and still keeps legitimacy overall relatively high, and it doesn't have to be the head of the government to get that legitimacy. The authority only drops by 100, which we have plenty to get rid of, and the good news is it's already well supported. It's going to make a lot of groups happy and no one upset, so landed voting is a big step towards progress in other areas, even though it in itself is only half of what you need. Now, clothing is something we have a major shortage on, obviously, and have had, as well as furniture, for quite a while. But there's more than one way to skin a cat. Odd saying, that is. But I'm going to look at production methods when it comes to both clothing and furniture and see if there's something we can do about those through other means. So in our textile mills, kind of across the board, they're spread out. They are definitely spread out. But let's see what we can do about switching something like hand-sewn clothing that uses 480 fabric, and switching this, we could add dye and produce an extra 180 from what we have. We can produce an extra 660 if we get into tools, fabric, and dye. Now we have a lot of fabric on the market, so this actually would make perfect sense by switching to sewing machines. Tools and dye are what become a need. So let's check on tools and dye and see where we're at on that one before we change methods. But I think that's our ticket forward. So tools and dye on the market. Again, the cloth, we have more than enough, so the buy orders would go up by quite a bit, so that's good. So tools and dye. Okay, tools, we are not producing enough, so that is one area that would have an impact we would need to address right away. Dye is another one we're going to have to increase, but it's not a huge negative. So commit a couple to that as well, and I think we'll be pretty good. Basic laborers are also going to be replaced by engineers and machinists in this one, which means a higher strata. It's a better paying job for those involved, and we're looking at an extra 10,000 in the production side of that. So let's go ahead and make the change. We're not quite ready market wise, so I don't think we're going to see instant impact, as there's going to be a little bit of a negative and positive on the market, but it is a pretty big change. And we are seeing a huge increase to the clothing on the market. I'm feeling the standard of living is going to start to increase as well, but it's still a really small number compared to probably what realistically is out there. It just grew into our third largest industry. Furniture manufacturers, we can see a sharp increase as well. That one's going to cost us tools and wood. Right now we already have a shortage of tools, and that shortage is going to get a lot bigger if we make the change right away. One thing I just realized, our entire clothing industry, all of it was going for fancier stuff, which we don't have the population base for that. So we've really split things up now, and that's going to change the market for clothing as well. Let's see how that one looks here the next little bit, as we had way too much production of high-end stuff, but it looks like the high-end stuff is necessary as well. Alright, so the Ottomans like us now. Oman is still neutral, but don't. We've had 2 negative outcomes so far on landed voting without any progress, and we're actually down to 0 on the chance of getting that passed. So probably time to call a stop to that one for now. We will restart that process at some point. One thing I need to be careful of in making this move for Oman is that they exist in different regions. So a play in Oman is different than a play for Omani Laristan, which is, like our area. Afghanistan, Sikh Empire, Great Qing are potentials in that one. I don't think Afghanistan would go against us. The Sikh Empire looked like not a threat, but Great Qing could be. So before we venture too much further, let's see where we're at when it comes to Great Qing. And they like us. So that part actually would be pretty straightforward. And I think we could probably go after Laristan and then maybe Oman itself. Alright, so we're going to start with that one. This might not even go to war, potentially. There you go. Mightier than the sword. We have conquered that territory without conflict, without war. So, they gave in. They gave it to us. So that's cool. There's a new one. Laristan. We already had Laristan. Okay, we just got the rest of the state. It's a little more land, a little more population, now being incorporated into our state. And I'm guessing that we now have a truce. So we have a 5-year truce with Oman before we can think about another play on them. By the way, we are getting awfully close with Makran on turning them into a tributary. Just +5 necessary. Power projection, I think, has to be kind of the key to make that one happen. Alright, I think it's time for the furniture to see a big upturn as well. We've already added some tools, and we're in the process of adding more right now. It's only going to bring it up by 110. It's going to add 715 furniture, though, in terms of production. I've had a note about switching from privately owned to publicly traded companies. It looks like it would increase money. It would add more capitalists. Let's see what happens by switching the textile mills first. Groceries is that next industry where we can do the same thing, change the methods, bring in grain, which is now covered thanks to the neighboring states, and sugar, which right now we're actually doing quite a bit of sugar production without really a need for it. So this is going to make a big difference in the food industry. Also, switching to publicly owned with the textile mills apparently has gone really well, so we're going to do the same now for the furniture industry, and I'm guessing the food industry is something we can do the same thing regarding that one, but food industry at the moment is not working since the transfer. It's starting to come along. Do the same thing there. And instantly, production is up for all of them. The profit is up quite a bit, and we suddenly have a incredible balance, which means in reality we can afford to increase construction a fair bit. Increased need for tools, fabric, wood, iron will improve what we're doing in terms of construction. So let's go ahead and run that increase and see where that puts us. Cost went up a lot, but it's a big gain, and I think we'll cover that off relatively soon. It's going to change the market a bit, though. A deficit that's hitting hard. 26,000 at the moment. The construction goods is the main source of that one. We went up massively in terms of what we're spending, but construction is suddenly at 47. Where it was at 18 a moment ago. Now it's at 50. So construction growth is accelerating to a level we have not seen at all. You can see we're getting multiple things done at once, and this is going to see some really, really rapid growth in the economy if we can overcome the sudden deficit that we're carrying. And one of the ways to figure that one out is where is the losses. Looks like we need more logging. So logging's one of those areas. I'm wondering if that's one of those industries that we can also turn to go our direction a bit more. Sawmills will produce a lot more wood, again, at the cost of tools. Tools are suddenly one of those major needs that we have. Good thing we are about to suddenly produce a whole lot more tools than what we... So our shortage of tools being addressed by an expansion of the industry, but that also translates down to a shortage of iron. So we are not producing anywhere near enough iron. Now that we also turned sugar up, we're going to need a lot more of that. So sugar and iron and engines, steel, all of great need right now. We can start turning out more iron right away. Again, tools, trade-off, and coal. So we're going to need to expand coal as well. Coal, meanwhile, has the same sort of thing. We can turn that out by using more, tools. The coal mines, I think we can turn on to rail transportation. That'll help things out a little bit. Same with the iron mines, as we do have some rail transportation that's been going in. Hopefully we can get that turned up where possible. And we can go for public trade. That's good. Interesting play ongoing. So Great Britain is trying to subjugate the Trucial states, this group just below us to the south. They already have influence over them, by the way, anyway. Same with Bahrain, so neither one of those are accessible to us currently. But they want independence. They are actually getting backed by the Ottoman Empire, and they want to give us an obligation to back them as well. But I don't think the Ottoman Empire is strong enough, even with our help, to stop Great Britain, if Great Britain is committed to it. So I'm going to decline. I'm going to declare neutrality and stay out of this one. Let them be subjugated. We don't have to take every state around us. Our expenses are still high right now. Gold reserves are going to fall off rather quickly, but let's see what we can do with some massively improved construction for a short while and see what we can do about overcoming that massive deficit that we are carrying at the moment. We're getting some pushback from multiple groups to try to get what I was already trying to pass earlier, the landed voting, passed. We're seeing a big increase in radicals right now. It's gone up by 400,000. The industrialists and the intelligentsia both want it. And we had the intelligentsia in the government alongside the Shia ulema, by removing the Shia ulema, I can add the industrialists to the government. Legitimacy will be at 48%, which isn't great, but it's going to give us a chance to get that passed. So we've placated the group that's going to make those radicals go away, and we start off with a 78% chance of passing that. So that's going to be a big step if we can get that one going. Economy still hurting in the short term. Gold reserves coming down relatively fast, as it's a pretty big deficit we are trying to cover off. But I can turn the construction goods back down and see that number go away. So in the short term, I'm going to use that gold reserve that we have to rapidly increase certain things on the economy as fast as possible. And if we don't neutralize that, we just turn the construction back down and slow it down again. And we'll see that balance go right back up in the long term. Now, if I was smart, I would have made this play while the event with the Trucial Coast was going on at that time. It didn't. I didn't think about it. I missed an opportunity there. Let's see what happens with Kathiri now, though, as Kathiri is somebody that I can get after and try to conquer. Morse and Gully, the only ones to step up and support them, won't be a threat. It's the Great Britain and Ottoman Empire ones that might intervene and push me to turn down the construction if they do, as we'll have to pay a decent amount in war reparations to them, assuming that those nations would actually step up and do something. But at the same time, how am I going to invade if I don't have a navy? I don't think I have the ability to invade until I have some sort of navy. I'm assuming that that's the case, so let's not make that diplomatic play right now. We need to have at least a small navy in place. Yeah, we have 0 flotillas. We have no convoys. And landed voting has passed. So we have that in place. Legitimacy, it drops ultimately by 10, but now it's a permanent lock-in. Now we don't have to have the landowners in the government. We can actually get them out of the government because the plus 30 we had came from them being part of the government. That was the legitimacy that we had. Political strength of multiple groups have gotten stronger. The aristocrats already had plus 50, and it unlocks women's suffrage. So that's a big step going forward, potentially. For who's in charge of the government? Yikes, okay. Looks like the Revival Party, the industrialists and the intelligentsia, are likely going to be the ones in charge. Landed voting. I gotcha. Okay. That's the distribution of power. So we no longer have the government simply something we choose. It now has to do with the different parties here. Looks like the moderate socialist parties and the Revival Party are going to be the ones in charge. The communists are the armed forces. Economy is not fixed yet, but my oh my has it gotten better. I've already brought it down within 10,000, and a lot of that I believe is tool production. Costs coming down quite a bit for that. Yeah, we've taken care of iron. Tools still well short of where we need to be. Steel largely fixed. Western Afghanistan are going to become radical. That's going to see a huge increase to that number. That's going to grow rapid. Yeah, look at that. Instantly 50 million. Election results are in. The Revival Party wins to get them out. Drops by 24% to get the landowners out. Who do we want to get in with them? Anybody? Trade unions? 63% to add the trade unions in. They want to join the Revival Party. That could be a good thing. Moderate socialist. Do we want to keep the landowners involved? Where does that put us? Yeah, that would be 7%. But what can we pass is the most important aspect of this. You don't just put them in to put them in. It's about what can you accomplish with them in, I can't see us doing anything. It just has legitimacy being raised. But with the trade unions, where does that put us? All right, so I'm going to have a go on our next law, which is poor laws. This is one of the first times that I'm going against a group directly. The landowners do not want this, but now that they are out of the government, our chance of success, more than a quarter, chance of advancing is more than 50%, and debate at just 15, meaning while it might take a little while, should be theoretically quite doable. 283 days on the checkpoints, as our legitimacy is not ideal without that one certain group in place, but looks like we are nearly done with all the construction we had. So checking the market, big thing here. We are right about neutral on grain. We are definitely still too high on clothing. We've taken care of our issue with wood. Furniture is continuing to go up. Still short of where we need. Clothing definitely is one that is still high in need. So clothing is something we would want to address soon. Food also. So clothing, food, but tools are still well short of what we need. So let's go ahead and deal with tools. Gold reserves are down to, well, really just slightly over 1 million now. But that deficit, right, it's not at 30,000, it's just at 11,000. So we've really covered things off pretty well, and we're hitting the market in the places where it needs it most. And with construction now at 50, it's rapid compared to what it was. I mean, we were initially at 5, right? We slowly brought that up to a 15, and that's where it had sat for a while. And construction was quite slow at that point, but now at 50, we get things done really quick. Somehow, the poor laws resistance has shown up. Chance to stall is at 19%, but chance of debate is still quite low. And you can see the vast majority, more than 60% chances either it will advance or succeed. Check it back in on, say, McCran. Where are we at now? Back down to 55. I think our change has not necessarily helped us. In fact, it looks like all of them, now that we are changing our government stance from what they were to what we are. Yeah, it looks like we're not going to annex them in this way. Afghanistan is still on its own, and I do think we're in a position. Afghanistan's wary towards us. We might want to finish and conquer Afghanistan here at some stage. Ouch on the radicalism that this is going to bring, that 15% chance of increase. And yeah, we're going to see this jump. It's jumped a lot over the last year as it is. To go from line infantry to skirmish infantry is going to just simply include ammunition. That isn't a large amount either. I mean, 63. I think that's something we can put together relatively quick. So I'm going to go ahead and add that into kind of my queue, as we want to get ammunition on the go. That's explosives and lead. We do have lead mines available to us. That's 50 per level, so our need for 63, we really only need a couple levels worth of that to get fully on the market, which means we need 40 lead, 40 explosives. So that's the other one we're going to have to try to come up with, is explosives, but we'll start prepping that one here. Poor laws didn't succeed right away, but we do get a +10 and an improvement to the group, so we'll take that. We're up to over 50% chance of success now, 30% chance of advance. Stall still there, though. Absolutely could stall out. While the economy, those reserves are starting to get dangerously low, but we keep inching our way closer and closer to having the right balance in place. Again, balance is still negative, but in a short period of time, just a matter of months, we've already cut that in half, and are still positive, and I think we're just about covered off. increasing the economy so rapidly thanks to the improved construction that we're going to be able to continue on as is without seeing that decrease, which means we're going to be able to bring a lot onto the market before long. Tools, still the one that we are short of, for sure. Food, though, as well. Looks like coal needs to come up. And Poor Laws has passed, so we've got that one through. That is welfare. Right away, though, there goes, that comes with the cost, welfare payments. Standard of living is going to rise as a result, but yeah. New cost to cover. A few recent changes that I made to a couple industries, and of course continued growth as things are coming along pretty rapidly, suddenly sees a positive balance. Just before we dropped gold reserves, we're down to 250,000. But we did it. We've overcome it. It's about time we bring in Eastern Afghanistan. France decided to get involved in the Arabian Peninsula, and I'm having second thoughts, as I have not yet made friends with France, about trying to go after that area, though I did take care of the couple units for the military there. Likewise, we do have transports, so I think we could get after Arabia, but not until we make friends with France. But in the meantime, Eastern Afghanistan has become available. Qing is the only one to worry about. Bukhara should stay out of it, as we are quite friendly. And Afghanistan's not going to put up much of a threat against us at all. Okay, they want to return Western Afghanistan. That would be a big loss. We definitely do not want to concede on this one, so let's hope that Qing stays out of it. We still have one general alive. He is quite old from the ones we used with the war before. That was quite a while ago. Looks like it's time to recruit a second general, though, as we could advance on the other front as well, which would really change things. The reason why there's two fronts is you have territory that is impassable, so it opens up two fronts instead of one. I think they did. They most definitely have. And Afghanistan has been incorporated without a fight. Surprising on that part, but okay. Well, there you go. We have another state expanded. Eastern Afghanistan is now ours. It's going to take a good amount of bureaucracy to get Eastern Afghanistan brought in, and we actually somehow have a deficit now, I'm assuming from the addition of the new state and governing over those individuals coming at a cost, and we didn't have much of a positive balance, so government administration is going to be on the way once again. Adding a new state in has added to our construction, as it appears that it came with one. 75% on the market right now. Infrastructure, I'm guessing, is a bit low compared to what yes, it's over on infrastructure. So we're going to want to take care of that. Actually already has 2 railways, but they are just not doing very well, is my guess. Moderate Socialist Party, 51%, meaning they have a decent amount of power all of a sudden. So I think we might need to change the government as a result. Industrialists are no longer part of these. These have separated into 2 different parties now. Russia has decided that they want to conquer Kiva, which we do have a defensive pact with them, which automatically has called us in. We cannot declare neutrality on this one. I mean, we are already in. Let's hope that Bukhara wants to join as well, but I do not think this is going to go well. Fortunately, though, they are just trying to conquer Kiva and Turkmenia, which is the 2 states of Kiva. And they're going to fall under Russian control here in a little bit. It's 1903, by the way. It's going to take them out of our market, but it won't hurt us. What we have, though, is a situation where we're going to have to defend this front, and means we're also going to have to mobilize our generals. All right, so I am set to defend our front against Russia. And meanwhile, I'm going to let Russia roll over Kiva on their own and then try to defend that front. And then, once they have Kiva, once they capitulate, that's it. It's over. It's not going to hurt us except for having our troops on our border, to protect. But it's definitely not looking good for us right now. But again, they're not looking to conquer our territory. Therefore, I am okay with what is about to transpire. But in the meantime, just in case, we're going to go ahead and call that an episode. For us, things went well, but danger is definitely lurking here in 1903. That is going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there, and bye for now.